Oh, now it did. Okay. All right. Sorry that took a while for that to. I couldn't get the microphone to work, but now it is. All right. So I'm Sims Dreamer, and I'm also known as Chandra Ablaze 1977 on Dark Souls Nexus and Dark Souls Reddit. Um, my a lot of my other content on my Sims Dreamer YouTube channel is Sims 3 stuff, but anyway, the other game that I really like is Dark Souls. Been playing this for years. Uh, so I'm not the best player in the world, but I know quite a lot about this game. Um, so this is as I say there, it's a beginner's guide. I'll be starting from the beginning of the game, and I'll try not to take too much time just showing every possible thing you need to know about this, but just pointing out major things that you should be aware of as you're playing this. Um, and also, I am the maker of a mod that adds more enemies to the game. That I came up with the brilliant acronym to call it EPiC, for enemy placement infernal changes. It is on Dark Souls Nexus, and um, yeah, there's a link to it in the description. This, as you can tell, is not scripted. What I am saying, I just decided I'm doing these live streams anyway, and so I might as well just do a live stream like this. I've always wanted to do a beginner's guide for people playing Dark Souls. I watched the guide. Oh no, I watched the guide before I even bought this game. Actually, I mean, I wanted to make sure that it was something I even wanted to play, and I liked it, and so then I got it. I didn't watch an entire playthrough before I started playing it myself, but some of the basic stuff I already knew from the guides. So, uh, if you are like me and you're thinking about purchasing Dark Souls for yourself to play, or you're just stuck on, stuff here at the beginning of the game or whatever, this is for you. Plus, you'll see how a pro player as myself, I say that in quotes, that how I would, handle even more enemies than you're actually going to see normally in Dark Souls. As I say on the description on Nexus for my mod, it's only recommended for people that have been, playing Dark Souls quite a while, beat the game a couple of times or whatever. You know how to handle yourself pretty good in this game, because it makes it harder, and it's already hard. But Dark Souls is an excellent game, and personally I think it's the best of any of the, at least that I've played, of Dark Souls 2 or 3. I mean, whatever. Those are fine too, but Dark Souls is good, and I've never played Demon Souls, so I don't really know how that would be to me. So anyway, just a second and we'll get into this. Have a little of my drink first, that you probably heard. And so yeah, we'll go into here. Alright, so Dark Souls. As you can see, first of all, the game will start in offline mode. This is a setting that you can do through Steam, assuming you're playing this on PC and you bought it through Steam, as I did. There's a setting in there on Steam that will let you go into offline mode. I didn't know this at first when I was playing this game, and So thus, if you stay online and you become human while you're playing, then you could get invaded. Also, you could summon people to help you for your boss fights, but you run the risk of being invaded. And so I always just play offline. That way I don't have to deal with all that, and I don't need people to help me on bosses. There are NPCs, you know, non-player controlled characters that are in the game on some of the harder boss fights that, you know, you can summon if you're human. And we'll get into all that after I get into this. Just a word about other mods that are available for this game. You know, there's mine, and there's a bunch of other ones that either will make the game harder, or some of them will make it easier, or, you know, let you cheat in certain ways and whatever. So, as I said, I play this offline because I use cheats part of the time, and you possibly could get banned from Steam, or at least banned from ever going online with Dark Souls if they catch you cheating. I don't know. This has been out for several years, so I don't know if they really worry about that anymore. But just be safe. If you're going to use, you know, mods that cheat, then you probably should do this offline. Also, of course, the biggest mod that exists on Nexus is called EPiC. It's supposed to make, you know, the game look better and everything. Well, first of all, the game already looks better than it does on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. I have it on both. You know, this is on computer right now, but I also have it on Xbox, and it looks better than it does on Xbox. So the EPiC, at least personally for me, maybe just because my computer isn't top of the line, it actually makes the game lag more if I have all those EPiC settings, you know, set to what it recommends. So I just leave all that off. But I do use it, because if you don't use it, then you can't see any mods for textures to make armor and weapons, and you can also make enemies and the landscape and everything. You can make all that look different if you want with texture mods, and you can't enable that without EPiC. So that's mainly the thing I use it for, just to have, you know, some of those things look different. And that's it. Also, another big thing, of course, is this game was designed originally on the Xbox. I guess you could plug in a PlayStation controller. I'm not sure, but and I'm just a second here. I'm gonna make sure. All right, never mind. Making sure I was public. So whenever they ported it over here, well, anyway, it's on PC, but you know, you can plug in a Xbox controller into your PC. I highly recommend you do that. I've never even tried to play it with keyboard and mouse, but other games I've tried that with, it's not as comfortable as using an Xbox controller. So use an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller if that'll work for you. Just don't use the keyboard and mouse, because it was set up to use a controller. It works a whole lot better if you use a controller, and you don't need all these other buttons. So I guess that's enough of my rambling about all that stuff, so we'll get into it here. Do the new game. There's the music, and I like to have it either 7 or for the live stream I like to be 8. We'll turn all this music down to about there. I personally don't like for my controller to vibrate. I like this to be reverse, just because that's how I like it. And this is an important thing right here, the camera auto wall recovery. You think that would be good if it's on, but it isn't. So turn that off. We'll see after a while. Well, actually, you won't see for that after a while, but the reason that should be off is because sometimes when you go through like small arches ways, doorways that are arches, or there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's some narrow passages that you have to go, that you have to walk on, and the camera can mess with you and throw you off of a ledge if you have this on, this setting. So I leave it off. I'd recommend that you leave it off too. And all that stuff. Anyway. Of course, DS Fix and any other mod, you know, they're on Nexus. You can look those up and find out about those for yourself. I won't go into it any more than I already have. So then we get into here. Of course, that's a mod for how the warrior outfits looks. For me, it shows up on character creation also. But I almost always play as a female, just because that's what I rarely see when I'm playing. So I will go into that in a minute. Actually, for now, I'll make her deprived just so we can see what she looks like better. Her hair and everything, because she doesn't have on a helmet. I won't even touch that yet. We'll just make her slim, and oh, I guess I'll go with this one again. And that ponytail and red hair. You notice how her eyes are now red also because the hair color changed? Well, if you put it back up here and do that, then they're back to being blue. And you can set those to whatever you want. Which I guess we'll just do that part now. That's, you know, you go in here and you can customize it. For female characters, I like to go down the cheek color and make it look like they got on makeup. Sometimes I make their eyebrows a little more dense so you can actually see it. And you can adjust the eye area so it kind of looks like she has on, you know, eye makeup. And then the mouth to do this, make it look like she has on lipstick. Make it bright red. There, and that's just about as good as she's gonna look. Now, of course, you could come in here and do changing this to different and then going crazy, or you can just edit the person and make them look all crazy if you want to. One thing too is that changing the skin color works really weird in this game. It's really easy to make them red or blue, but it's very hard to get them to be green. There's guides on, you know, there's some videos on YouTube that talk about how to do that. So yeah. But whatever, we're just gonna look like this. Okay, I guess I'll just name her Chandra. And so the gift. There's only one gift on here that's worth getting. And that is the Master Key. Now, if you want to not spoil too much for yourself or whatever while you are playing this for the first time, then I guess don't choose that. But it doesn't really open any basic lock. What it does is opens one especially special door that'll access you to, you know, higher level stuff in the game early. Although you can come around the normal way to get to there. But experienced players like to use that and go that way because there's some good loot that you can pick up by going that direction. And as it says, the thief starts with this gift. So if I was to pick thief up here, which has that outfit on because I modded how it looks, or well, anyway, whoops. Yeah, they start with the master key already, which is, well, get it off of it. Well, they start with the master key, even though it's not showing it right here. They do. So usually people, what they do is that they pick black fire bombs as their actual starting gift if they are a thief. But I usually don't start as that. So we'll pick master key, and we're going to change this. When I first started playing this game, I used Pyromancer. That's what was recommended to me in the guide that I was watching. And it's a really good starting class. The Pyromancy, which is a fireball that you're going to throw out for... You've got 8 cast of that. It's pretty powerful, especially early on. So it's good. And this whole thing with the levels, you notice the, like, Pyromancer is level 1 and Sorcerer is level 3, and you know, all those levels being different. That's kind of misleading as well, because really what that does is the higher the level that you're at... Wow, this music's really loud. Oh well. The higher the level that you're at, the more souls, which is the currency of the game, the more souls it's going to take to level up the next time. So you're actually better off to start as this level 1 character than you are deprived, and plus you don't have on any armor. So I would not recommend deprived for a new player. If you don't want to do pyromancy, then sorcerer's good too. I mean, they cast sorceries, you know, that's magic, but so is pyromancy. But or another good class is the bandit. If you're wanting to do a strength build, because they have the highest strength already, and they have a lot of endurance, which is also important for that. Or you pick the warrior if you're wanting to do strength and dexterity, and you're not worrying about magic, you know, at all. One thing that noobs usually do is pick knight, which looks like it would be a great class, but the problem is that if you leave on all this armor, then you're going to fat roll, which we'll get into later, but I would not recommend using that class. We're just going to go with Pyromancer. So, yeah, the rest of the stuff I can explain. Of course, you can make her be, or him, have a big head or a tiny head or average, or make them big, or I like to go with slim because it isn't super thin, and the bigger your character is, the more of the screen they're going to take up and obstruct your view of what you're doing. So unless you're trying to cosplay some character that's large, then I would just recommend going with slim or very slim or average. So anyway, we could have changed her hair color and eye color if I wanted to, but anyway, that's in the customize. Alright, let's go. Yeah, the cutscene. And just whatever, you're gonna see this. I'm gonna making sure I'm live, making sure I'm public. seeing on Reddit if anybody's talking to me. And
Mine brands the
yes,
undead.
it brands the undead and all that. And okay, there's the chat, which I was testing because it wasn't working earlier. So hello. Let me turn this down just a little for myself. I don't know, maybe I'll just make the actual game sound be less by a little bit. And that's, the mouse controls this. I wish there was some way to turn it off. I don't know if there is, but that's why it wobbles around when I use a mouse. Even though the controller also controls it. So, yeah. Alright. Okay, so we're trapped in this cell, right? Oh no, how the heck do we get out of here? Well, you pick up this. These are loots. Little loot things that kind of look like souls, but they aren't always souls. And you pick that up, and there's the key. And you don't have to equip the key or something. It's just already here. There's the master key, and there's the dungeon key. So when I use the door that it goes to, it just tells me that I used it. So also, we start out with this stupid little... Holy crap, what is that? Alright, we start out with this crappy little... the little sword thing that I'm holding. Which is total crap, of course. So yeah, I never had made all that hay over there show up in my... I'm looking, yeah. Okay, so, you know, obviously if you start as Pyromancer, your outfit is going to be gray and not this. And if it's a man, you know, if you're a male character, the outfit really looks crappy, but it looks better on the females. But I modded it so it would be red. That's just my mod. And of course we look hideous. So, yeah. And some players, including a lot of speedrunners, just run around with looking like this. And I know that they can't be, I mean they could be, but they probably are not playing online. They got it offline. So I don't know why they don't just make their character be female, or be human, is what I'm trying to say. Because it just looks better. So, as I said, if you want to play online, well then, while your character is hollow like this, you can't be invaded, and you can't summon other people to help you on bosses. But if you become human, then you can. And I'm going to do something here real quick, because I just am going to, if I can find it. Yes. This is Technojacker's cheat engine that I don't even know exactly where I got it from, but most players that play Dark Souls know about this, so you can find it. Anyway, something fell. Oh, all right, sorry. All right, it does all kinds of stuff. It can enable all kinds of things. You can also change what an item is with it, which is really handy when you're wanting to do that. But the main thing I'm going to use it for is to do this, make my character be human, because I don't like looking at them when they're hollow. So now she looks good. Yep. So. Oh, I thought that was writing over there. Okay, anyway. Alright, so these things are messages. Well, that's the other thing. If you're playing online, you're going to see messages that other people have placed. And a lot of times they are trolling you. Sometimes they're not, but a lot of times they are. But these messages were left by FromSoft that developed this, so they teach you. Because this is kind of the tutorial level. So, right stick controls the camera controls, just like any other third or first person shooter. This is attack, so, yeah. That's attacking, which I'm not going to do to that guy because I've only got one of them in here. Versus the 3 or whatever that normally would be here. And this is strong attacking. It does more damage, but it's slower. And if you hold the B button and move, then you run. And this one is a super important one. So, what that means is if you push down on your camera control button, or joystick, push directly down on it, get the mouse out of the way, sorry, then you target like that. Then you can move around that character, that enemy, and it makes it a lot easier, because look, if I try to swing, I mean, I hit them because I know what I'm doing, but a lot of times new players don't target, and then they just swing all over the freaking place. Crazy. But if you target, you're much more likely to hit the enemy like you're trying to do. So, pushing A climbs up here, like it says, so. So, resting at a bonfire recovers HP, which is your red bar. That's your health. The other bar is your stamina. So, just lighting it isn't the complete process. You also have to set. Now this is kind of like a checkpoint. Really what it does is it makes it to where if I die, then I respawn at this point. That's another thing. Dark Souls is always auto-saving itself. So no matter where you die, when the game restarts, you're gonna start right there. So yeah. The whole lighting the bonfire thing is only the first time, and I guess the reason they did, I don't really know why they did it other than just to make it an annoyance that you have to do that first, especially if an enemy's coming after you when you do it. So, there's no loot in here. There's a door over here, but it doesn't open from this side. So, but one thing that's great about this game is that there are many shortcuts to find, excuse me, that go back to bonfires or whatever, and it's all interconnected. So one thing is to just explore, explore, explore. Alright, so we're going to open this door. Now I'll say that I've added enemies into boss fights. Normally there are not enemies in boss fights, but my mod adds them. So we're going to see them, so I'm going to run through here fast. But the boss is going to fall down, and of course, unless you have black fire bombs, then you're going to have a hard time killing him. that this sword does like 2 damage. And with all my extra enemies in there, it's probably pretty close to impossible to do it. That message right there just says get away, which I'm gonna do. There's the big asylum demon, and I'm about to get burned up. But you just come through this and you're safe. Now, if we die before getting to the next bonfire that's after this one, which is actually the first one that we were at, because we loop back around to where it is, then you're just going to spawn right here. But since I got hurt some, I'll go ahead and use it because it refills my health. And I don't have any healing potions yet. So there we go. And actually, usually way before now I would have taken that off. So I'm not holding that stupid thing. So get your shield. Well, where the hell is that at? Well, it's in here. It's this. And you're getting shot at. Just run back over here. In that cell, I placed an enemy. So it's not really safe. But there's 2 messages in there that explain to you how to get into the start menu and all that stuff. So you push start. With LB, you know, the shoulder buttons, LB and RB, you navigate through this stuff. Going here, pushing, you know, A to execute. And then pushing A again. Well, not on that, but this is your right hand, this is your left hand. Usually the right hand has the weapons and the left hand has the shields. So, put the shield on, which is this crappy shield that doesn't totally block all the physical damage, but it's all we have right now, so that's what we have to use. And yeah, and this is the inventory with all the stuff that you have. But this is not where you equip it. You equip it in here, and items, excuse me, that are right there will go in this spot. Your left hand weapon is here, your right hand weapon is here. I guess you can see the mouse, and your magic spells are up here, which I already have, but I don't have the pyromancy flame or glove or whatever you want to call it that actually casts this, but you get it later in here. And all your items, including your health potion, which is called an Estus Flask, is going to be down here. And the way you cycle through that stuff is by pushing the directional pad that's on your controller. If you push to the left, you cycle like this. Or right cycles this way, which I don't have anything, and down cycles through the items, and up cycles through the spells. Whoops. Yeah. Because you can hold 2 weapons in both hands. Each hand, like that. This is for rings over here, and this is for bolts, as you can see, and for arrows that we'll get later. And I placed a hard enemy in there. So we're not going to mess with him. Well, I might just go back there and kill him. Alright, this is the weapon. This is what you want to switch to. So for us, it's a hand axe. Which is actually pretty good because it staggers enemies and it swings pretty fast. All axes stagger enemies pretty well. This guy is kind of a coward. So, well, that's another thing. We'll see a tutorial message later, but when you're playing this, somebody died off screen for some reason, I don't know, but pushing LB makes your shield be up like this so you can block. And to a new player, I would say always block. Most of the time, you can also roll away from enemies and stuff, but anyway, you should block. When an enemy hits your shield, it's going to stagger them some. Unless they're really strong, it's probably going to stagger them. And they'll pause for a minute, and then that's when you swing at them. You don't just run full force into some enemy and just start swinging away, because you're going to die, probably. And this is a hard enemy over here, because he's got a lot of health compared to these other zombies. So we're going to wake him up, and I'll show you how to handle an enemy like this. So, oh, the other thing I was going to say is that if you can safely do this, then it's better to two-hand your weapon, because you do more damage. So I'm going to keep my shield up, and then you can just quickly switch to two-handed. And doing that makes your green bar go down. So there's running and rolling, and if you hold your shield up, it goes, you refill slower than you would, so just keep that in mind. See, it probably would have taken twice as long if I had one-handed that. And I could have used a strong attack, but it takes up more stamina, and so you can't do that as many times. Alright, this is, what do they call this? Traverse the white light. A lot of people call these fog doors. Sometimes this means a boss fight, but in this case it does not. Alright, so B kind of does a lot of stuff in this game. If you hold B and you move, then you're going to run. If you just push it, you backstep like that, which sometimes is useful, but mostly it's not. But anyway. And if you push B, if you just push B without holding it and push a direction, then you roll like this, which is good for getting away from enemies and such. And I got hit by that. Usually I don't, but I wasn't thinking. That's a little trap to teach you that you need to pay attention while you're playing. Usually what I do is I go up here and I jump off just as it's coming. Or you can go up about this far and then come back down and it won't hit you as long as you stay against the wall. So that created that hole. So, you know, there's a staircase right here, so let's go down it. Remember this door? Well, now we can open it from this side. Making sure that, yeah, that this thing is hearing what I'm saying. Alright. Okay, and now we're going to set the bonfire. And that will make our health go back up all the way. Also, attuning. Now we only have this one spell, but I'll take it off. The way you attune is you're at a bonfire and you say you want to attune this, you push this, and then you push that. So yeah. Another important thing I'll say right now is that not that. All your weapons and all your other stuff that you pick up, if it's your first time, it's good to go in here and study this stuff and read what it says. The first paragraph will like tell you useful information. The second paragraph will be lore, you know, the story stuff behind it. So it's good to read all this kind of stuff so you understand what you've picked up. And also, this is your status screen with your levels over here and what your HP is and stamina and the equipment load, which is kind of an important thing. Whatever, I'll get into that later. How much attack rating your weapon does, it actually never will do this much damage. I guess it's kind of like it'll do this much damage against an enemy if they were totally naked and had no defenses at all. But anyway, it's a number. It's going to vary between enemies. And this is all your defense, and then your poise, which we don't have any because we don't have on heavy armor. But that's okay because I can roll out of the way, and the shield basically gives me poise as I'm holding the shield up. So the more poise you have, the less likely that an enemy is going to stagger you with damage. And these are some resistances that we'll get into later when I get to that point. But if you want an explanation of all this stuff, you push the back button on your controller, and then it will tell you what these things do while you're in this menu. And push B to close it. So if you're new, that would be a good thing to do also, is to look and see what all this stuff does. So yeah. Alright. Now we're going to go to this guy up here who's going to give us our health flask and unlock a door that's up there. This dude. He's got some nice armor and stuff, but you don't get it right now. Alright, so two things you can do here. You can just kill him. Sorry. You can just kill him and you'll get the loot, or you can listen to him. Now, the first time you're playing, it's good for you to listen to him. I'm going to spam through what he says, but when you do it, you should listen. Now, stuff that NPCs in Dark Souls, what they say is kind of vague a lot of the times, and they'll only say it once also, so you need to pay attention when you're listening to them. But sometimes NPCs, not this guy, but other NPCs they may say something different the next time that you go to them, especially this guy that's going to be next to Firelink. He says different stuff as you progress, so it's good to go talk to him. So.
Oh, you're no harm.
And just like me, they talk kind of slowly.
I'm done for, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you're done for. It's on yes.
Regrettably.
Yeah, we want to listen and all that, so we get our health potion.
Oh.
And the key to get through that door that's up there.
Now I must.
Yeah, you bid farewell and all that. So by pushing X, we can use the S's flask, which I'm not going to do because I don't need to, but that will refill part of our health. Later in the game, you can get items that make the S's flask refill your health bar more so. So those are good. Well, actually, I can go get one pretty early. On a suicide run, as we call it, where I use up my souls at the bonfire for leveling, and then I just go run there, and because I expect to die because the enemies are going to be hard. So another thing you can do is parry, and oh, that was Mr. Knight dying back there, but yeah, of course as he said, he dies. So it's possible to come back to the asylum. There's stuff to do when you come back here, and when you do come back here, that guy's going to be an enemy, and you get his shield, which is good against magic when you kill him. So yeah. So here I'll do a little move that's called parrying and then riposte. I'm not all that great at doing it, but I'm pretty good at doing it against these dudes. Like that, and then that. We use that key. This is going to explain the parrying, I think. Well, this is how you two-hand by pushing Y. Like I said, you do more damage. So it's good to do if you're going against a hard enemy. And kicking. On this controller, it's kind of hard to do it with the controller I have, but that's kicking. You know, read this message. Do the buttons at the same time. Otherwise, you swing. And yeah. Resting at bonfires revives all the normal enemies, except for just a few of them that don't respawn, but mostly it revives all the enemies, except for the bosses. So keep that in mind if you're trying to progress. It also makes it where you can farm enemies, of course. So here's our pyromancy flame, and this new guy here is going to attack me. You know, I'm just going to stay backed up from him. That's one thing that you can do. And then just two-hand. Because as you see, they telegraph what they're going to do. And they're pretty slow. So it's not hard to just back up from them. So if you were an archer, that would be a bow and some arrows. And the other magic, you know, sorcery, and clerics, they get their stuff from right there. Which I guess I can put on now. That means I'm going to throw out pyromancy. I guess I'll just do it against this new dude here. A new enemy I placed just to make this harder. So you do this. See, it killed that guy in one shot. And he's semi-tough. Just two-handed to kill this dude. I put some new guys in here. One guy's the same and one's harder. Alright, yeah, behind an enemy, you get right behind them without them turning around, you can push your RB and do a backstab on them. And the other message in there is going to teach you to parry, which is with the trigger button of the left side. You do that, and then you gotta be close enough to them, and you do RB, and it'll do the stab motion, the riposte. You just have to test that to get down the timing. So I'm not going to try to do it against this guy because I'm not very good at it. He swings pretty fast. I guess I'll try. Well, nope. I'll just use pyromancy on him. And I better heal, so this is how you heal. And it didn't refill it all the way. So be mindful of that. See? I kind of staggered them because I two-handed this axe. This guy, I'll parry him. So yeah, these demons here are really noisy. Just a second. I'm still on. Just making sure that... Yeah, okay. Alright, so this door, it's locked, right? Well, later you're going to get, if you search good enough, which I'm going to show you where it is, it gets you a key that opens this door, and then beyond that is a loot item that's on broken stairs that you couldn't get to coming from the other direction. That gives you a ring. All the rings do special things, but the ring is called the rusted iron ring, and it makes it to where when you're in water and the swamp and stuff, that you just walk at normal speed and run at normal speed instead of going really slowly like you would. But you can also roll through that stuff and go a little bit faster. So that's what people normally do if they know to do that when they don't have the rusted iron ring and they're in swampy stuff. Alright, so yeah, I can change that. It tells me that when I don't have anything else to change it to. Alright. Why falling plunging attack? Oh, I forgot that. Alright, so remember that. And what that means, we'll just do it real quick right here. As you fall, you have to have fallen already. And then you push the attack button. Sometime during the fall. The Asylum Demon's going to be below us. If you linger too long, then he'll jump up and attack you and make you fall down, and you'll probably die. Especially the way I have the fight now, because there's enemies in here, including 2 guys that are shooting arrows at me, so I have to hurry. I may die doing this. Sorry. Alright, so you can target after you jump. And then hit him. Oh. Heal whenever you have a safe distance away from enemies to do so. This guy's shooting arrows at me, so I'm going to kill him first. The Asylum Demon's going to kill these guys, as you see. But this is all just due to my mod. Normally it would just be the Asylum Demon by himself. I'm just going to kill... Well, he did for me. Alright, and then you can just use Pyromancy on him. It's pretty powerful. Ugh. But I won't finish it that way. I'll show you how you ought to do it if you're melee only with just a weapon. Try to get behind them and then two-handed and swing and get hit by an arrow. And heal. And I think I'm over here with an enemy. No, I'm not. Okay. Don't kill me right here, Mr. Demon. Die. Huh. I guess that dude fell down. That was shooting arrows at me. He was up there on that ledge that I can't show you, but yeah, that ledge. Anyway, this goes back to the bonfire that we were at. There's nothing else to do here. Well, now there is, because I added the Black Knight, but he's really powerful, so. Alright, so explore, explore, explore. There's a soul that's over here, which the souls are... I'll just do it now. You use them to gain souls, which is the currency, but you can hold on to them, because if you die, then this number goes to 0, and your humanity that's up here goes to 0. And you'll go back to being hollow. And so, and you'll lose that forever if you don't go back and get your bloodstain, as they call it, which is this green glowing thing that's where you died. Also, something that you can do is interact with this, except if you haven't died yet, you can't, unless you quit out.
Give me.
Now, I don't think it'll take stuff if it's equipped, so I'll unequip that. That's the only thing we can do. So, if you want the Ring of Sacrifice now, without making the jump that's in Firelink, or you just want 2 of them, then go into Star, try not to jump off of here, and say drop this. Now, I just stay in the menu so I don't risk jumping off, and go into quick game. And then start it back up. Excuse me.
You give me.
Yeah. And then you pick up the Ring of Sacrifice. And there's a bunch of items that'll work this way. to get better stuff from this nest, which is another reason why, yeah, because we're going to leave here, but we're going to have a way to get back later. So yeah, you can get upgrade materials and all kinds of stuff from that. So just to be dramatic, I tried to jump right here, yeah. Only the whatever. I guess I'll go through cutscenes. Yeah, and now we're in Firelink. So that stuff gets out of my way, I go ahead and pick up these 3 humanities. Set at the bonfire. That's already lit. I didn't have to light it, right? Okay. Well, just a second. I'll explain that and some other stuff after I have some of my drink. So, one thing that might confuse new players, I mean, I've seen it confuse new players on videos, anyway, is that your Estus flask is going to be 10 when you set at this bonfire, but when you go set at the bonfire in Burg, it's just going to be 5. Well, that's because this bonfire is already kindled. I mean, that's the story anyway. The firekeeper is down here, and so since she's a firekeeper of Firelink, then Firelink's bonfire gives you 10 Estus flasks instead of just 5. You can also, I mean, well, actually the only thing you can do, because she doesn't want to talk to you, is reinforce the Estus flask, but we need a firekeeper soul to do that, which we're going to go get momentarily, one of them. And the thing about them is that their description is misleading, because what you do with it is not anything. You come here and give it to her. You don't use it, because then that uses it up and you waste it, and there's just a limited number of those in the game, and that makes your Estus flask refill more of your health at once. So this is the crestfallen dude. I'm not going to do it, but you can talk to this guy and he'll tell you stuff that a first-time player wouldn't know about. So it's good to talk to him. And this is the guy I was saying that as you progress through the game and you come back to Firelink, it's good to talk to him again, because he'll tell you even more stuff. Assuming you don't watch this guide or some other guide. But his information is not like an objective or something. Like, you don't have to talk to him to progress. It's not one of those MMOP, whatever those things are called, you know. Those things that have progression in them. Those games that are RPGs or whatever. I mean, this is kind of an RPG, but it's a very open-ended RPG, which I like about it. So those are fire bombs, which are where I want them to be. You can hold up to 5 things. So yeah. So I'll leave that there. And come over here. We're going to learn that gestures are by pushing the... If I'm not looking at that, then it's pushing the back button. And she can wave, or help somebody to come towards her, or whatever. You can switch to other stuff. So we're gonna join this guy's covenant. He sells some miracles. So if you were doing a faith build, you could buy them from him if you want to, but he also has a pretty funny gesture, so I'm gonna get it.
Hello there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get his gesture just because I want it.
Hello, but no.
He gives you a copper coin. Holy crap. You can trade that later for some souls. From an NPC named Frapped.
Oh my.
Right,
Oh,
it's...
so what if I were to teach you some...
Yeah.
Very well.
Now, like I said, if you're playing this the first time, listen to everything that they say. And just join the Covenant. Get rid of that thing. Now let me show my miracles, which you could purchase. Miracles, you could buy a talisman, but this talisman right here, you can get it free if you know where it is, which I'm about to show you. I already entered the Covenant. You can talk to him too. I mean, whatever. Learn his gesture. Leave him.
Come again?
Yeah. So we can switch the beckon or any of these other ones to shrug. And then you do that. Which is useful for just amusing yourself, or if you're playing PvP, because you can't chat with people while you're playing PvP. Which is you against another human player. So it's good for that. Just to do a gesture, as it's called. Yeah. There's gonna be a new guy up here that I added. After I get the soul right there. Let's hit him with pyromancy. So yeah. Go over here. This is where the elevator is going to be from Parish, which that crestfallen dude that's over by Firelink will tell you about. He's going to mention this, but anyway, you can look down. You're not going to die from this. Come down below here. Get this. Homeward Bones. Yeah, I like to leave there. Homeward Bones, when you use one of these, then you warp back to the bonfire you last rested at. And there's actually a way to dupe that to make it to where you don't use them up, which I'll teach you after a little while. Alright, there's that talisman and the Morning Star. Now, what I always do is I switch to the Morning Star. If your character doesn't have enough strength to hold this, I don't know if any of them don't have enough strength to hold it one-handed, but if you don't, you can probably two-hand it. And it looks like every weapon in this game would bleed enemies, but only certain weapons have that actual mechanic, such as this one, which is this right here. The auxiliary effects down here at the bottom, 300. So it'll do bleed. Which means that if I hit an enemy several times, especially one that's has flesh exposed and doesn't have on armor, and I don't think it works against skeletons either, but a lot of enemies can be bled, and if you hit them several times in a row, then it'll do a lot of damage all at once. Now, some enemies, such as these skeletons that are going to be down here, also do bleed. When you get their weapon that they drop, it will not do bleed, but when they hold it, it does do bleed. Kind of unfair, but whatever, and so they'll try to bleed you out too. So, might as well use the same type of weapon against them. That item is for invading, which I'm not going to do. I'm not online, but it's for invading. And these things are for... if you throw it at an enemy that uses Estus Flask or another human player that you're doing PvP against, then they can't use their Estus Flask for a short time. or kind of a short time. Also, you can throw it at mimics, which are chests that look like this with the lid closed, but they're really an enemy. Which the first one is not until about halfway through this game, but I placed a couple in my mod earlier. They would drop some good weapons, so that's why I did that. So yeah, just a second. So right, what I was saying is the Lloyd's Talisman, if you throw it at a chest that you know is a mimic, then it'll wake up without attacking you and you can get the loot out of it. Alright, so this is the dreaded graveyard of skeletons that I added enemies to, so it's going to be even harder than it normally is. But I'm not going to come from that direction. I'm going to duke this. In my last video I explained how to do this, but on female characters you have to two-hand your weapon and swing it. So about halfway through the swing, I'm going to push X and then start at the same time. And then the game is going to think that I'm using the Estus Flask, but really I'm using the Homer Bone, but it doesn't use one up, as you'll see. It's a trick. It's a glitch. Yep. Okay. So, I'm going to stop real quick and see if anyone's watching me. Probably not, but whatever. No, of course not. But this will be up for anyone to watch later. And I've been doing it for an hour and a half already. Wow. There's so much to say about this game that it's kind of hard to explain everything. Anyway, oh yeah, we've got souls, so I'm gonna level up. Okay. As I said, if you look at, while you're in your menu, you can look at the description of what all these things do. Excuse me. So, I know the weapon that I want to use needs 10 dexterity, so I'm going to make that, excuse me, 10. And I can two-hand the weapon that I'm probably going to use, which is the Claymore, with 12. Its strength requirement is 16, but 2/3 or 3/4 or whatever it is of that number is what you need to two-hand the weapon. And in this case, it's 12 for a 16 strength weapon. Otherwise, the weapon won't do like hardly any damage, and it'll stagger you a lot when you try to hit an enemy. So for now, this is all I need. And my theory or suggestion or whatever is that once you can at least two-hand or preferably one-hand the weapon that you want to use, then endurance is the most important thing. Unless you're doing intelligence, which is for sorceries, and faith is for miracles. So I just put it into endurance. And that's on my hotbar, so I'll just level up one more time, I suppose. I'll put one in vitality, I guess. I don't put very much into vitality, though I mostly put it into endurance. The reason for that is because endurance controls how big your stamina bar is, this green bar here. And the longer that is, the more times you can swing. And the more times you can roll. And the longer that you can run. And when you're holding up your shield, or if you're not, either way, if an enemy is hitting you, it not only is going to damage you, but it's going to make your green bar go down. And if it goes down all the way, then when they hit you, it's going to stagger you. So, the longer that the green bar is, just the better. So, yeah. Alright, so we're gonna, I guess, do this first suicide run that's down here. You could go this way with these stairs. Or you can just fall right here. Be careful, because this wraps around. You could fall off. Maybe an enemy down here. No, okay. I placed an enemy here, but he only loads if I go to the graveyard first before coming here. So this is an elevator. If the elevator's down, you use this. But it's not going to do anything because it's already here, and the big button is what makes it go down. Alrighty, and so now we're in a hard area, which is not where you go for the bell that's below. Well, it kind of is. It's a back way to get to it, but not the actual ghost area. That goes to one of the in-game bosses. So, yeah. Anyway, and since I know I'm going to die, I'm going to make this go back up. That way I don't have to wait on it. So, we come over here, there's a soul, but there's also now an enemy that I added. So, we're gonna kill him. He's from later in the game, so he's pretty hard, but using this weapon bleeds him out, so I can kill him faster with this. So, the Morning Star is really good. And later when we get into the Burg, we're going to get... Just a second. Sorry. Alright, sorry. When we get into the Undead Burg, there is a weapon that's a better version of this, basically, that's called the Reinforced Club. That's usually what I buy, unless I'm totally going to use magic only, and I cheat to make it to where I have infinite spells or whatever, because this cheat engine will do that. Infinite spells, infinite durability, all kinds of stuff. Don't use this if it's your first time to play, you know. And don't use it if you're going to be online, because it's hacking. But when you're offline, it don't matter. So use it if you want to, you know. But get used to the game first, of course, before you start making it easier on yourself. And don't use my mod the first time you've played, because it's going to be harder. The other there is a benefit, though. I'm going to get more souls because I'm going to kill all the enemies, so I'm going to get more souls than you normally would get. But it's still going to be harder, and that's also why I added enemies to the boss fights, because there's, you know, you're getting more souls, so you're able to level up more, and I provide a couple of places where you can get some better weapons more easily, so the boss fights might as well be harder, and adding enemies makes it harder, so that's what I did. So yeah. Anyway, that's a soul. I guess I'll use Estus. So we come this way. These guys are just here for get some souls if you want, I guess, or just for the aesthetic of how they look. Kind of a spooky place. Got a new enemy here, that same guy. And I missed him. Alright. This shield is really bad, by the way. It's, I think, the worst shield you can start the game with. But they give you a powerful magic spell, so that's good. Because its physical blocking is 65 instead of 100%. And its stability is 30, which is pretty low. Stability is kind of like poise, because it controls how many times an enemy can hit your shield with damage before it staggers you. So, yeah. Alright, so if you come down here and you don't keep going because you're going to fall, then you come to this dude, who's the first blacksmith that you can access during this game. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So, you can modify your equipment, you can reinforce your weapon, which I'm not going to do, but you use Titanite shards to do that, and souls. And you can repair, and this is one thing. Later we'll be able to actually buy a repair box that lets us do this at the bonfire. But for now, this is the only way to do this, so I like to repair all the time, because if you don't repair, then your weapon can end up breaking. And it'll warn you that that's going to happen. But yeah, if your weapon breaks, then it's going to do far less damage. So you're kind of screwed. So we're just going to... It just costs souls to do this. Your armor also needs repairing. So we'll just do that. And then this is the first guy that you can buy sorceries from if you want to. He sells them for like twice as much as you can get later. And you can buy the Sorcerer's Catalyst, although you can get that later as a loot. And if you start this sorcery, you don't need this, of course. You can get another copy of Soul Arrow if you want to, but anyway.
Goodbye then.
Right, okay. Keep having the mouse in the screen, sorry about that. Alright, so this is the special door. This accesses you to all kinds of awesome stuff, including the back door to Blighttown, which is kind of semi a nightmare to go through the front way. So this gets you past a lot of it. And there's loot. And I can get to the main blacksmith of the game by going this back way. And this opens with the master key. Now, if you didn't pick the master key, then once you come around from the other direction, after you've gone through the Burg and the parish, and you've gone to Andre, and you keep going into the forest and all that stuff, and you come to here, which this is Valley of the Drakes that we're looking at, then you can come to the back part of Blighttown. And if you can get past the guys that have large clubs and keep going, don't go down the ladder, then there's a chest that gives you a key that says New Londo Ruins key, and that's the key for this door. But I have the master key, so I can just open it now. And this is a bigger soul. It's 1000k. I have a mod that makes it tell me how much it is, because it normally doesn't tell you that. Anyway, we'll go over this little bridge. And this is the back door to Blighttown, as I was saying. I won't go all the way into here, but it changes color as soon as you're in here. Whatever. Make it spooky. I need some of my drink again, I guess. Alright. From the other side of where I'm standing, you could jump that little gap, saves like a second or something. I usually fail when I try to do that, so I don't mess with it. But you could do it if you want to. And then this bridge. And I placed a Dark Wraith at the end of it for challenge. So the way I get past him is to get his attention and then run. They are very tough enemies. They're in the lower part of New Londo Ruins, really. So they're late game enemies. So anyway, I go into Blighttown a little bit and get around him and then run again. Keep running, and so there's this undead dragon here that's asleep. So you go over here, pick this up, it doesn't wake him up, and then you go in between there and get those two loots, which they're both good, especially one is good for any build, the other one's good for faith, or if your faith is up higher. Anyway, but there's a way to survive this. It's by rolling backwards, as you'll see me do, hopefully. Twice. And then you survive it. That's how you get that. And that's poison that it's shooting out, so you'll get poisoned. And if you get poisoned, by the way, the Pyromancer outfit is the best starting equipment against poison. So that's another thing that's great about it. You can find it as loot. You can find everything in the game as loot somewhere. And the Pyromancer outfit is in the bottom of Blighttown in the swamp. But since I started this Pyromancer, I already have it on. So yeah. I'll show you. Poison resist is 59, which is really good. There's only one outfit in the, well, two outfits in the game that have higher than this, and you don't get those until later. So, but if you get poisoned, then here, I'll just let him poison me a little bit, I guess. Then you get that bar. Well, that's toxic. Oh, he's toxic. Okay. Well, that's the even worse version of poison. But if that bar goes up all the way, then you get poison and your meter, your life meters, goes down. If it's poison, it goes down slowly, and if it's toxic, it goes down really fast. And you die, of course, unless you have a cure for that. Or you warp back to a bonfire or use a bonfire. So, yeah. So now we have the blue wyverns, or whatever. They're dragons that shoot out lightning. I'm just going to run past them, because they're super tough, and I'm not going to try to fight them with this crappy weapon that's unupgraded. I put a skeleton in the cave, and sometimes you can get stuck on them, like that. So, I added another wyvern, this one that I'm looking at right now. Yeah. There isn't much room in Dark-Root Valley to, or I'm not, bleh. What is this? Valley of Drakes. There isn't much room to add more enemies, so I just had to sparingly do that. Right up this elevator. Go over here in this cave. There's going to be a bonfire. That is a normal bonfire. Just a second. Sorry, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry, I'm back. Parenting duties that mommy is going to do. So anyway, all right. So get back into here. Alright, what was I saying? Alright, so this is bonfire. It's going to give me only 5. Which, since I already have 8, it's going to look like it doesn't do anything. Besides make my health go back up. Set. Now, I guess this is time to talk about humanity. Which is this thing. When you use that, as it says, it will refill your health no matter what it is, all the way. So it's a healing item. It also will give you 1 number in this circle thing here. Alright, so one thing that does is the higher that is, it can go all the way to 99. The higher that is, the more defense it adds to your defense a little bit each time. So also, if it is anything between 1 and 10, then the drop rate, that is how lucky you are for an enemy to drop loot when they don't always drop loot. Your luck for that is going to increase the higher that this number is, up to 10. And then after 10, it doesn't matter. That's as high as it's ever going to get. Until you equip a ring and or a helmet thing that makes it go higher also, but that's later. So item discovery is 100, which is just base. Once I have that at 10, it'll be 210. So, just to demonstrate, I guess I'll use a humanity. Excuse me. So now I have 1, which makes item discovery 150. I guess that's why, because the highest it's going to be is 210. So between 100, 150, and 210, 150 from just 1 humanity helps a lot. So you're gonna have a lot more luck at enemies dropping loot if you have at least 1 humanity. Now, oh, right, and so if I sat here, sorry that you might hear crying going on. Just a second. Alright. Okay, so I have 1 humanity, right? And reversing hollowing, which is normally how you would make your character and not look human, but I just hate it when they don't look human, so I just cheat to make them always look human. But anyway, you would reverse hollowing, which you're not hollow, you know. So, but if you were hollow, it would make you not look hollow. And then, while you are human, you can kindle, which takes away a humanity. And now I get 10 Estus flasks from this bonfire. But I also have base drop rate now, which kind of sucks. And humanity is kind of a scarce thing in this game. There's a few enemies that you can farm to get it, like rats, that are in. There's a few scattered around, and I've added more now in my mod, but normally the best place to do it is in the depths, which is a sewer type area. But I've tried doing that before, and boy, it takes a long time to farm those things, and it's just really annoying to do. So I just freaking make it be what I want with this. So I'll just do that right now that I've shown you what humanity does. We're just going to make it 10. That way my defenses are not super off the chart because I've got it being 9.9, but I have full drop rate, and then that way we don't have to wait on me to wait on stuff whenever I farm for things. They'll just drop it. So that's what I do, just because I don't have time basically to wait for getting all the humanities and all that. You know, I'm a family guy and whatever. So yeah. All right, so yeah. So now we're a little bit better off. And yet again, Mommy is gonna talk to me, so hang on. Alright, well, I'm going to take a break now for a little bit. So, yeah, get myself more as a drink, I guess, and whatever. And so, anyway, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back now. For anybody that watches this in the future or something. And whatever with that. And alright, making sure that it's up there. Alright, so I explained the whole thing about humanity. And whatever, and the fact that I just make humanity be 10. Also with this you could just make it be max, and that would be 99. But that increases your defenses by quite a lot. Some just fun, silly builds that I do that I make it max just because it's easier that way, but whatever. For this I'll make it 10, which is the basic thing that you would want if you wanted max drop rate. So we're gonna go back down here. Oh, okay, I guess I'm just gonna lose these souls. Well, I might be able to make this, but we're gonna see. Of course, one benefit of this here is that I'm always going to have 10 humanities, so I don't have to worry about losing that. Because you lose this too whenever you die, your soft humanity, as we call it. So anyway, I'll just send this back up. Alright, so don't even mess with trying to fight these guys. Not at this low of a level and with the unupgraded weapon. Just run. Pick this up. Try not to get hit. Get on this ladder if you so desire. Alright, I'm almost up here, so nothing can get me now. Not yet. So, that big door right there opens into a late game area that you open that a secret way that I'm not going to tell you how, but it's not from here, I can tell you that much. If I was to go down there, I would be dead. Now, up here is the red tearstone ring, and usually that's it, but I put 2 dark rapes up here too. And I'm gonna homer backbone out of here and not make it, so I died. I didn't have enough time to dupe it in that case, so yeah. But it didn't use it up, I don't guess. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't complete. So now I have this shield, which is good against, has resistance to poison. Anytime you're against an enemy or in a place that has poison, this is the shield to use. And I picked up the Dragon Crest shield earlier with that undead dragon. Forgot about talking about that. It is good against fire. So, and it has higher stability, and it has 100% physical blocking. So does the spider shield. It also has 100% physical, and it has a little bit more stability also, so that's great. So when I'm in the Burg, I usually use this because there's guys with fire bombs and stuff, and it looks cool too. If I can get it in the light here. This is one of the many things that I've modded, so my Spire shield says that. Yeah. We'll just call it the pirate shield from now on, I guess. Oh, and we picked up another starting outfit for the bandit, which is pretty good armor and it's light. So, yeah. But I'll just keep this on. So, oh. Yeah. Just a minute. Or not a minute, just a second. Okay, so rolling. That whole thing I said earlier about the knight being like the worst class that you can start with, well, this is the reason for that. Since I'm heavy, kind of, this number, 54 is the maximum equip load that I have, which is also controlled by endurance. So endurance controls stamina and your equipment load. So if this number is, if your actual equipment load is 1/4 of your max, then you fast roll. If it's less than half, then you will medium roll like I'm doing now, and if it's over half, then you fat roll. So this is medium rolling. Probably if I take this off, I'll be fast rolling again. Yep. Ideally, this is what you want to do, is be fast rolling, because you can roll away faster and all that. Also, heavy armor, besides making you fat roll, or just making you heavier, it also will make your stamina bar regenerate slower the more pieces you have on. So keep that in mind. I can still fast roll with that on. I'm going to try to make myself fat roll just so that you can see what that looks like. Wow, no? Okay. Never mind. Well, anyway, it's moving even slower. Boy, the menu is sure noisy in this game. You'll move even slower than that. It'll be like, ugh. And that's crappy. Unless you have on some of the late game heavy armor, then I wouldn't suggest being fat rolling. So, yeah. Alright, so now we're going to go up here in a second. We're going to get one of the best shields in the game. That's being guarded by that guy. And he's always here. Yeah. He's not part of my mod. He's always here. He's a Black Knight. We'll talk about him in a minute. He won't come into this cave, though. So, yeah. So, the Grass Crest Shield. Now I have this little icon thing here. Which means, as we look into here, it slightly speeds up stamina recovery. So when you're holding this, your stamina bar will go up faster, which is terrific, right? The only downside is that it doesn't quite have 100% physical block, but it does have 95. And it still has pretty good fire resistance, and pretty good magic resistance, and pretty good lightning, and its stability is not as good as these other two shields that I just got. But you can upgrade that. And if you upgrade a shield, then it makes its stability higher. And it also makes its attack better if you want to use a shield as a weapon, but that's kind of silly. People do that as a challenge sometimes, but don't try doing that. If you're new to the game, I don't ever do it either. Of course, my shield looks different because I've modded it. Or, I mean, yeah. Well, I added this to the back of it. It looks like that in the front, too. Which I didn't make that part, but... Anyway, whatever. I altered it so it looks like that on the back also. Alright, so we're just gonna run past this Black Knight. Because he's a really tough enemy. And it'll take me forever to kill him. And I'll probably die trying to. And then we come up here. And drop right here. And we get all this cool loot. Which is the starting hunter's outfit, which is actually kind of heavy, which sucks about it, but it's good against lightning. And we get the longbow, which I can't effectively use right now. Mine's modded, so it looks different, but whatever. Anyway, but you can still shoot it even if your dexterity isn't high enough, and it won't damage an enemy hardly at all, but you can get their attention with it. So, yeah. That's what I'll use it for at first. So now we're going to come down here. Going that way gets us back to the let's see, the end part of the Burg. But you either have to get the key that's later, or it's somewhere else, or the master key will get you in there. So I'm actually going to use this weapon. You can take off your armor so that you fast roll still. I mean, armor protects you some, but you know, sometimes it's better to just not wear as much armor so that you can get out of the way of attacks. Kill this thing. Alright, so it will always, any of these things that look like this, the crystal lizards I guess they're called, they'll always drop twinkling titanite, 2 of them, and then they'll either drop nothing else, or it will be 1 or 2 titanite chunks, or 2 titanite, or large titanites, or some other types of titanites in other parts of the game. So those are all upgrading materials. I suppose I could put an enemy right here later when I update this mod a little bit more. But whatever. So there's gonna be a DLC enemy up here that's pretty tough. I mean, I can kill him, but he's pretty tough. So we're just gonna run past him. And the tree folk type of whatever enemy it is. Demonic foliage. That was Dark Garden. And then this is the back way to get to Andre the Blacksmith in the parish. And there's 2 prowling demons now, instead of just this one that's in the middle. There's Andre, the shirtless Santa Claus. that's one of the most important NPCs in this game. So don't kill him until you're about to beat the game, and then you can. Suppose I'll kindle this one too. And that's it. Alright. He hammers all the time to alert new people that he's down here, but then he never stops it, so it's kind of annoying, but otherwise he's cool.
Well,
Yes, I must be a new arrival. Get his gesture. With him you can also modify or reinforce armor and weapons. Repair your stuff, which I don't have but one soul to do with, so I won't. But and you can buy Titanite shards from him, which can also be farmed. They reinforce weapons. He sells that weapon box and the armor box and repair box, all that stuff. And some weapons. These two shields are pretty good, and if you didn't pick up those shields that I did in Valley of the Drakes, then these are pretty good also to get. But I don't need them right now, you know, I don't ever use them. Because I don't need them! And then he's got all this ammo. Yeah. And if you talk to him, then he'll tell you all about upgrading. So, like I said, it's good to talk to NPCs. We're going to get away from his hammering. I'm going to come out here where no enemies are, as of yet, to get away from his hammering. And so, yeah. So, a word about that with NPCs. Unless you really know what you're doing, then it is best to not kill any NPCs, save one, except for one. There is one that your life will be easier if you kill him. We're not actually going to see him because of the way I have my mod. Just on my computer right now, he ends up dying. But I'll show you where he would be. So, yeah. Because especially important NPCs like that blacksmith down there, if you kill him, you won't have his services anymore. So, you know, especially if you don't have the smith box already for weapons, then you're kind of screwed if you kill him. And he's a hard fight. All the NPCs are fairly hard to kill. But they all drop some kind of loot, most of them. Or at least give you souls and humanity. So when you're beating the game, when you're about to go beat the game, then it's fine to go ahead and go kill all of the NPCs so you can get their stuff. But don't do that until later. Way later. Alright, this is Onion Bro.
Forgive me. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina.
Like he said, that's his name. So, yeah. He's waiting for you to open up Sin's Fortress. This door. Which is why you ring both bells. I'll just spoil that, because that's the purpose. By going to the top of this, you're able to go to the next big part of this game. So, you didn't have to talk to him to know that, but he has a quest line for when you talk to him several times. He'll be in different locations, and you can get different stuff, and the last thing you can get is a Titanite slab from him. So, but in my game, he's going to be dead. in Firelink because my mod kills him for some unknown reason. So yeah. So, well, I guess I'll do this part. So, and of course there's going to be more enemies through here that I've added. So I guess we'll just make a run for it. This big guy, and so we're going to come to another Firekeeper soul, which I didn't even use the one I got earlier. Actually, I didn't go get one earlier. Anyway, you get that. Right? Yeah, I didn't even go do that. Okay, sorry. So, I'm just going to get off here instead of at the very bottom, because this is just how I always do this. I come over here. Now, to get to all this stuff is to stand here and then roll while you're pushing forward. And walk up this way. This enemy that's over here is one I've added. He won't be here for you unless you use my mod. He's easy, except he hit me. Now, I got his. Yeah, well. There's that big bird that brought us here. Yep. And this is a key. See what it is? It's the key to that door I said at the beginning that we couldn't access, that has the rusted iron ring behind it. So that's where that is. So there's also a way to go back to the asylum by being up here. Or at least before I jumped over to this part. So yeah, but I won't do that yet. Oh, I didn't even do the graveyard run either. Well, usually I would leave this soul here instead of coming up here, because I can just pick it up now. So that's what I do. Wonder if the... Nope, not yet. Well, quit out. Let's see if those NPCs have died yet. While I'm at it, I'm going to see if... Yeah, okay. Yep, they did. Alright, well. Okay, well, since... I'm pretty sure at least that since their loot is yellow like this, that it doesn't disappear when I die or use a bonfire, so it'll always be sitting there. So I'll get it in a minute. We're going to set. Now we're going to do the suicide runs that I normally would have done right at the beginning, but I just completely forgot to do that. We have another Firekeeper soul. This. So we're going to talk to her. Even though she doesn't talk. And now my Estus Flask is +1, which means it'll fill more of my health. This is where the guy would set that you should kill normally, because if you don't kill him, then he kills the Firekeeper and makes it to where Firelink's bonfire can't be used until you go avenge her death halfway through the game by invading him, as it were, even though he's a computer character. And that's how you get back, and then you come back here and replace her soul. So, yeah. I'll just leave that for now. Alright, so now I'm going to go do the other Firekeeper soul suicide run. After I stand. Send it back up, I guess. I don't want to wake up this guy that's over here that I've added. So I come over here. If you can drop here and you don't get hurt. Yep. Yeah, I don't need to mess with him. Now this Dark Wraith you're gonna see is one I've added, so he's normally not here. That's the S stock right there. These are some things for letting you attack ghosts is in that jar. Whatever they're called. Wow, I let him get too close to me. This guy who doesn't move for some reason, he's added it also. And then usually there would just be 2 ghosts. But instead there's a lot more enemies. So, you come over here to this part, go through here. More ghosts are going to come up, and you get this Firekeeper soul. And then you try to get back, or you let them kill you, or you just jump. I could have jumped off, which you drown if you do that, which kills you. So yeah, and now, yep, see, those loots are still there, so I'll just wait about that. Because you wouldn't normally have those. You know, unless you went the back way to Parish and did some other stuff, and I'm just going to go to Burg next. Anyway, let's talk to her again. So now I have a +2 Estus Flask. I guess I don't have to fast roll for all this, so I'll just put on this armor. Oh, the graveyard run. Well, I do want to go fast for that, so I guess I'll use this for stamina recovery. This is another thing that people normally do right at the beginning. Well, a lot of new players go this way, thinking this is the way to go, but it's not because it's hard. But there's some stuff you can get for a suicide run that are good, that you can use immediately if you've leveled up the way I'd started to. Well, I didn't level up the right way. There's a big sword that's down here that you can two-hand if you have 16 strength. But I leveled up endurance, so I don't have 16 strength. But I've got the souls that I can make it that way, which I guess is what I'm going to do. But right now, I'm not. So there was a soul back there, right? And those are the stairs that go up to that other soul that I already got. So normally it's just skeletons in this area, but I've added this guy. Like, this guy's from not even part of the game, actually. He's unused. And I bled him out. And there you go. And this is one of the normal dudes. Normal little soldier guy. Now, these are, you'll just see. They're gonna wake up, of course, and be hard and stuff. There's a shield down that way that's a little bit better than the wooden shield, or that crappy shield I started with. There's this. There's a spear up that way. And I'm gonna die. But up that way. Which I guess I'll get. Okay. It's kind of hard to explain everything and think about what I'm doing at the same time. But, whatever. I guess we'll kill this dude again because he's kind of in the way. And I'm gonna miss. since my stamina was down almost all the way, it's just better to back up and use S's if you're needing to. And that guy gets stuck on the stairs for some reason. And that didn't quite kill him. Why don't I have this on? I just use pyro on him just to be doing. Alright, so that way, in between that ghost and that other guy that's a soldier, is a spear, which is sort of good, I guess. But anyway, this is the glowing thing. That's my souls. That's how you retrieve your souls. All these ghosts and stuff is stuff I added to make this part harder. This is a really good sword. And those are binoculars, and maybe I could use this. Yep. Alright, I don't want that spear, so I showed you where it is. So whatever. Okay, so the Zweihander. Which I guess I could level up just to use this thing. Let's see. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So now, since its necessary stats are 24 and 10, then like your dexterity has to be the right amount. You can still swing the weapon and it'll look like normal, but it won't do the damage it's supposed to do unless your dexterity is exactly what it's supposed to be, or higher. But since this thing's strength is 24 to one-hand it, then at 16 strength you can two-hand it. So, and it's really a powerful weapon to have right here at the beginning of the game. If you can deal with the fact that you've got to two-hand your weapon real quick, if you want to use a shield at the same time. So, yeah. Okay, so I've done everything. So, if you just kept going there where the graveyard was at, then you'd be in the catacombs, which it is possible to go to early. And it's possible to beat the boss. But I would not recommend doing that if you're new, because it's a late game area. And you will probably die there. So we're just gonna go this way. And this makes me slow. I might as well have this armor on. And I like to use the fire shield because these guys are gonna throw fire bombs at me. And I've added a few more enemies, so it don't look quite like it's gonna look for your game. Like the skeleton dude, because I like skeletons, so I add more of them. These guys are all just, usually are just normal zombie dudes that are easy, like that first guy was. This guy's extra too. And I didn't have up the shield probably. Slam him down to the ground with that, and then we got this guy that's added or replaced the dude that normally is there. And then that over there is the Ring of Sacrifice. But I showed you how you can get it right at the beginning of the game from the nest after you beat the Asylum Demon. If you're wanting it, 2 of them, or you don't want to make this jump that's here. Which you can jump that, I just don't want to mess with doing it, so whatever. And then you have to fight this guy for that, and that soul right there. And he's going to jump back. And that's going to kill him. Alright, but the way to jump is to run. And it don't matter if you're slow, you can still do this. I'll just do it, I guess. See? So, you run, which is holding B and pushing forward at the same time, and then you double tap B to make you jump. So B does a lot in this game. I'm not going to mess with this. You got to be real careful when you do this, and I just don't want to waste time going over there. Now, 2 options when you're here. You could homeward bone out here, so you don't have to make the jump again. Or you can just make the jump again. So now we're going to go up here to the Burg, and I guess since I have the shield that's good against poison, I might as well use it, even though I'll kill that rat before it even hits me, probably. But just in case not. Now, I'm using, you know, a really powerful weapon. I'm going to show you what I normally would do if I didn't level up enough to use the Zweihander. I use this, you know, which I've been showing you, which is really good until you get a better version of that. There's some new enemies that die off screen, so that's what just happened. Gave me a lot of souls. That's not by design. I don't know how to make that stop happening. This goes down a water tunnel. Keeps going. It only opens from the other side of it. It's a shortcut back to Firelink. So, I guess I'll try to teach how to approach fighting enemies, because there's some easy guys up here. Alright. So I'm going to let him hit my shield, which staggers him. And then you swing. Which killed them both, but... So you can either do that, well, I mean, do that, but you can either just then swing, or usually you've got enough time to switch to two-handed, and then you can hit them that way, which is the way I normally do that. This guy's gonna throw fire bombs. Kill him in one swing like that. Then I've added the skeleton right here. And there's a guy that's normally a zombie, but I made him this harder person that's usually down there, and he used the ladder that's over there to come get me. So since the Morning Star is a hammer, just like with axes and great swords, they stagger enemies pretty well. So that's another benefit versus the dexterity weapons. Yeah. That's how you get that, obviously. So, one thing I guess I'll say is that this param bonus thing here, like it's C in strength, that means strength, that means dexterity, this means sorcery or intelligence or whatever, and then faith. That's how good that this weapon scales up based on your levels. And see, like the longbow scales really good with dexterity and just a little bit with strength. So the higher your levels are, the more the things that scale with that are going to increase, which is terrific. But the other thing that you can do is upgrade your weapons at blacksmiths or with the smith box if you have it, and that makes your weapon a lot more powerful with each upgrade. More, I mean, kind of. Well, anyway, it does better than leveling will. I mean, this will help, but upgrading your weapon, especially early in the game, is the best way to, you know, make your character more powerful. So yeah. Oh god, sometimes those dudes just jump like that. So these guys over here are gonna try to ambush me, but I kill these guys first, and then the other two just come anyway. So these are all the normal guys. I didn't want to mess with this part. That is something that you can trade with that nest later, or whenever you can get back to it. Yeah, that's back at the asylum. That's all that's for. And then there's humanity over here. And I'm gonna take, well, I'm gonna minimize this real quick, at least. Oh boy. Mr. Chandler that I've added to this part is shooting at me. Except, well, he's trying to. Alright, that's a fog door over there. That's not a boss fight. But I added a new enemy there to surprise you. So we'll go over there where he is. Hold up the shield as soon as you get in here. Alright. Now, double-handed and just swing away. Okay, so there's gonna be a dragon that shows up that's gonna squash one of my new enemies. So, yeah. And that's due to my new guys that I've added here. Oh boy. And Mr. Dog. Little doggy. You already came for me. I may die here. Yep. I was being shot by too many things at once. guess I'll just use this Y-hander because I still am medium rolling with this weapon. And now this thing swings kind of slowly. It swings the fastest of any of these ultra great swords because that's what it is. So it's real good that way. But just compared to a lot of other weapons, it swings really slowly. So if you're going to use this, you know, get used to it. That's another thing. Here, I'm going to put it back on that weapon that I can one-hand. One thing that a new player should do, or any player that's using a different weapon that they've never used, or just to test it or whatever, all weapons have different types of swings. So, push your RB, push your RT, and two-hand it, push RB, push RT, run while you're doing that, and then push RB. RT will just make it stop, so that one's useless, but run and push RB, roll and push RB. They did a different move that time. And also if you back up and then push it, then you'll kind of go forward and do that. And you could do a jump attack if I can make it happen. Well, you can also do a jump attack, but the controller I'm using makes it kind of hard to do jump attacks, so I don't. And with this Y-hander, I can only two-hand this, but that's RB, that's RT, slams it down in front of you, and then running makes you go, and rolling makes you go forward with it, which is a thrust, and going back makes you do that. So, your weapon can do more than just the RB move while you're standing still. It may be able to do a move you didn't think it could do, such as this one. Like, it normally doesn't thrust, but if you roll, then it does thrust. So, it's good to test whatever weapon you're wanting to use, or test all those different moves to see, you know, just to get a feel for your weapon. So, I'm going to do this here. If you swing this while you don't have enough strength, then you do that. And yeah, it's not good. You might get killed by an enemy that's, you know, there. Overkill that dude. If you overkill an enemy with, you know, a lot more power all at once, then you get more souls for the kill by a little bit. I think if the enemy was 20, then you would get 24 for it. Whatever the math for that is. Ah. Now, if you're not doing this whole thing where I just have my soft humanity be 10 all the time, or if you're wanting more humanities for healing, then it's good to always kill this rat right here, because rats drop humanity sometimes. So, he didn't, but he could. Alright, well this time I have to two-hand the weapon if I'm going to use this weapon. They died again. Man. Roar. These guys are so slow that you can just kind of hang back and watch what they're going to do, or lack of doing, and then just swing at them. This guy's a little bit tougher, but I can do the same thing with him. That's the end of him. What does he drop? Oh, that. Yeah. Let's get over here. Slam him down on the ground. This weapon's great for doing that. Alright, the dragon cutscene thing, or it's not a cutscene, but the event isn't going to happen this time. Oh shit. Lay down. I killed you with the power of hitting a wall. Alright, so these dudes now in my mod are up there like that. Ah. It's best to get back down behind him. But now I'm using this weapon. So it's more powerful. And of course I have pyromancy, so I could just do this. And I better use my Estus flask. It killed him, but didn't hurt this guy at all. I figured it would hit this guy and kill him, but whatever. He's gonna drop fire bombs. And then Mr. Spearman, that likes to turtle behind the spear, which you can do with spears also. Except this time he's not. And then little doggy was added right here by my mod. Ugh. Yeah, come out. And that meter that he's putting on me is the bleed meter. That's what they do to you. Besides the damage, of course. Possibly extra damage. I'm not super skilled with ultra great swords. For that matter, I'm not all that great with melee. When I was first playing Dark Souls, I used a lot of magic, but I'm trying to get better at using, you know, weapons, melee. And you really gotta get used to the fact that this thing swings so slowly compared to most everything else except other ultra great swords and such. So just be mindful of that when you're using it. These guys are from the parish. He also will drop his weapon that's pretty good for a dex build. And his shield is pretty good, except I don't like how big it is. And he'll drop Titanite shards sometimes, or his armor. So all kinds of cool things you can get from this dude. And there's more of them in the parish. I just added this one down here for challenge, you know. Can I freaking hit you finally? Well, there's a shield in here. I'll kill this guy first. Sometimes he'll drop his crossbow. Anyway, there's a shield in here. If you didn't use the master key and go the whole back way and get these good shields that I've gotten, then this is the best shield that you're gonna have come across at this point. Because it does 93% reduction compared to this crappy one that I had. So it's definitely an upgrade, and it's pretty good against lightning, as you can see. So sometimes I use it for that reason. Yeah. So since I'm skilled enough at the game, I'm not going to use the bonfire again, or yet. Come over here. Now these dudes, this is what's great about ultra great swords. You can stagger these guys. I'll show you that you can do it with the hand axe too. Two-handed, it helps. See? Bam. Wow, it's actually really effective for that, because it swings so fast compared to any other axe. And any class can hold this thing, and the merchant down here sells it. What I like to do, you can roll through this stuff to get it out of the way. I like to just be fancy and break it all that way. Kill that guy. Alright, Mr. Merchant Dude. Now. Well, anyway, talk to him.
Well, now.
Yeah. Alright, he sells all kinds of stuff that's good or useful. As I said earlier, since my mod adds more enemies to the game, I have more souls than normally you would have at this point. So yeah, but I always get one repair power just in case. He sells fire bombs and throwing knives. We're gonna get some more 10 throwing knives here in a couple minutes, so that's just for writing all those stupid messages that people leave. The residence key. The residence key you need for 2 places if you didn't get the master key, but if you did, you still need it for 1 place. So I go ahead and buy that. He sells the repair box. Andre also sells this, and he sells it for 2,000 instead of 3,000. So you can wait on that if you want to. And the bottomless box is good because you can store all of your stuff in your inventory that you don't want to see every time you're looking at your menu to be in that, and then you can access it at a bonfire. That way you don't have to drop stuff so that it's out of your way. You can just put it into the bottomless box. So alright, he sells some basic weapons and stuff. I guess I'll actually buy this. Now, this is the best shield that he sells. It only has a weight of 2 compared to the weight of 3 of these other good shields that I have, and it has 100% physical block. So it's a good shield. The warrior starts with that. And he sells a short bow, but I already have a bow, and this is the reinforced club, which is basically a better version of the Morning Star. It also does bleed damage, just like the Morning Star. So I'm going to get that. Those spear guys would drop a spear, possibly, after I farm them. So, but you can buy it there if you want to. See, he sells the hand axe. There's a scimitar if you're wanting that. And he sells armor too, which I get sometimes, mostly just because of fashion. Nah, but right now I won't, I suppose. It has some poise to it, as you can see over here. Yeah. So what I usually do, put that back like that, I usually buy 50 of these wooden arrows. I use arrows just to draw out enemies whenever they're in groups, you know, to like pick them off one by one to get them to come to me. One at a time. So that's what that's good for. And then I have a special reason for these wooden bolts. Later I'm going to use them to kill mosquitoes that are down in Blighttown. So I get 50 of them too. Also, or whatever. And that's it. I got enough souls for the repair box. I might as well just get it now.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly. So, here's a spoiler. So, cover your ears or something if you don't want to know. The whole thing about what he's touching. Well, he's crazy, first of all, but apparently his weapon is invisible. Because if you attack him, then he's gonna attack you back, right? And what he drops is the Uchigatana katana, which is a really good weapon for dexterity. It does bleed damage. You look freaking badass when you use it, of course, because you look like a ninja. And I actually have a mod that makes it look even more cool because it's black and red. But anyway, but if you do that and you don't buy stuff from him first, then you miss out on the bottomless box because he's the only person that sells this in the entire game. Actually, the Residence Key, he will also drop that if you kill him, so you didn't actually have to buy that if you're going to kill him. More fire bombs. I'm thinking he's the only person that sells more of those, and more of those dagger throwing knife things. I mean, so yeah. Just be for sure that you want to kill this guy when you're doing it, because he's pretty easy to kill him. I mean, with this weapon he would be. But you may want the stuff that he has, and he's not the only person that sells bolts and arrows. But yeah, some of that stuff, just especially the bottomless box, if you're wanting that, do not kill him first. But I usually don't use katanas except for my Ada Wong cosplay I was doing on another video I recorded earlier. I used it because it seemed appropriate. These guys normally are just 4 of the normal zombie dudes, like that first one was, but I put these guys, they're unused content, they look cool, and so I wanted them in my mod. So we come up here, get the throwing knives. Now this jump, you do not have to be fast rolling to make this. You can be wearing heavy armor and make it. Just a side note for you to know that, so here we go. See, I was medium rolling and I made it, so. Go up this way, they put that. that little banner right there to kind of let you know that you ought to go around this, because this is where the loot is. And then we get the light crossbow, which, as I say in my previous video that I did, which is the first time I ever talked in a video, is that the light crossbow, this is about the time I usually remember to put on the bolts. And I'll say this real quick. The reason why I put arrows and bolts in the second slot is because then you don't see them on your character. If they were in the first slot, then you have that, right? And it just looks like kind of crappy sometimes when I'm trying to have a certain fashion souls going on, you know, so I don't like it to show up. So I just put them back there. You just have to remember that you need to switch the first time you use your crossbow or your bow. Anyway, but what I'll do once I'm able to, and before I go to Blighttown, is make the crossbow be a +2. If it's a +2 and you're using wooden bolts, then you kill those mosquitoes in Blighttown in one shot. Sorry, I kept stumbling while I was trying to say that, but yeah, so that's the plan with that. And I may be... No, I'm still medium rolling. Well, whatever, I guess we'll keep that on there. I get 50 just so I have some extra ones, you know, and all that. So. Okay, so I guess we'll use the bonfire, which is a normal bonfire that's only going to give you 5 until you kindle this thing. So I'll do that, which doesn't take away humanity. It tries to, but my cheat engine mod makes it to where it doesn't happen. And then since I bought the repair equipment, this is, as I've said before, this is an important thing to do. You don't want to let this go crazy and not repair your stuff forever, because it'll end up breaking. And then it won't do hardly any damage. So I just repair every time. I repair every time I'm at a bonfire, so I keep up with it. That's my suggestion. Oh, bottomless box. So here's this thing. I don't need those. The coin you can still give to Frapp, who's the guy that you sell this to, even if it's in storage. So I just put it in storage. Rubbish, I think that has to be in your inventory. Well, yeah, it does. For you to drop it at that nest. So keep it out so you don't forget about it. That's what I say. And then I don't need that. This weapon is good for a faith build if you know, it's a good early game weapon. It's really powerful for an early game weapon if you're going with a faith build. If you have your faith be 14, and if you start as a cleric, I think you only need 2 level ups to be able to use this thing. So it's really good. It's kind of a small sword, but it's good, and it does divine damage, which is this right here. And that kills the skeletons that reanimate in the catacombs without... They don't reanimate if you hit them with a divine weapon. Or if you kill their necromancer guy that's down there. But anyway, that's a way to do it. Well, I talked about that, so I'll just put it up. Excuse me, because I'm not going to use it. Oh. Nah. Don't need this because this is better than that. And it does almost the same thing. Well, yeah. It's better. Get off this stuff. I'm not going to do any miracles. Don't need that piece of crap or that one. That armor I don't want, so... Oh, and I have that. I forgot. Well, I usually don't do red tearstone ring. I usually don't do this. Speedrunners a lot of times use this. Whatever. I don't, but I'll wear it because that's the only ring I have besides Ring of Sacrifice, which breaks if you die, and you don't lose your souls and your humanity, but it breaks. So don't use it unless you're on a suicide run. In a special case, like I might use it if I was going to get Power Within. Power Within, then I might use it for that. Okay, so yeah, this shield, which I have a mod that makes it look different. It's little, but it's got pretty good stability, and it's 100% block, so it's a really good shield actually, and it's light. I might be able to fast roll if I use it. Yep. Okay. And this is my texture mod to make this reinforced club look like a baseball bat with nails in it. So, yeah. Yeah. Or home run, I guess, or something. Okay. You want to kill the dogs first, as everybody says, so I guess I will. Check this out. Yay! Because this club and the normal club, actually, if you push the right trigger, then it does a jump attack automatically. That is its strong attack, so it's actually pretty useful sometimes, I've found. So now that enemy that died earlier loads, and it's a Batwing demon that's from later in the game, and if we could farm him enough to get his spear, it's the longest spear in the game, so it's really good. And it does lightning damage and stuff, and it's really powerful. For a spear, anyway. Stagger him with that, and then hit him with that, and I think throw a fireball at him because he's getting too close. Now I'm going to switch to the Zweihander, and I'm going to use the Grass Crest Shield for stamina regen because I can. And he's still not dead. Oh, it's the other one. Okay. Alright, well. Alright, so what I usually do here is I just run at it and swing. This works pretty good, and then you can swing again because he got staggered from it. And swing again because he got staggered from it. And swing again because he got staggered from it. And and that's it. With 16 strength and 10 dex. And an unupgraded Zweihander. And he then dropped his weapon, but it's pretty rare for him to drop it, and I only placed that one here. Oh, I guess the fast roll, I'll just use this stuff. Now, of course, TJ's mod that's here can make it to where I can just always fast roll, which I do a lot of the times, but for this I'll play basically the normal way. So yeah. Alright, well I didn't get hurt at all doing that. I don't know, I think I'm going to take a little break actually. So, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so, sorry if you were waiting through that. I've decided that I'll probably just end it right now. Possibly I might live stream this some more later tonight, but or just do it tomorrow. I'm not sure, because I already went for 3 hours to just explain all that. I'm new to this, so, but I've wanted to do one of these beginner guides for a long time. Anyway, and plus you're seeing the EPiC mod yet again in one of my videos. Eventually I'll work on it some more, and I'll release these maps that have the new stuff in them. Just not yet. Also, as far as I know, nobody was watching me. But hopefully this will help someone once it's on my channel and in the recorded version, you know, after the fact. So anyway, good night. Probably I'm not gonna live stream again tonight, although possibly, but I'm not really sure. And you know, as it should be known already, that the Sims Dreamer channel that I have also has a lot of Sims 3 machinimas and music videos and such on there. And then I also have a video on there that is the only other time I've spoken in a video earlier, a year or something ago, that explains how to backup save whenever you're on PC, which I don't do this very much anymore. Although I do save my characters, because I play a lot of different characters. I just get tired of one character and I play something else, and I save what I've done so I know what I was doing at that point. But anyway, you can look at that. It'll kind of explain, you know, the whole thing with dying and having a, you know, having a blood stain and all that, and then it'll explain how you backup save. So if you're really getting stuck somewhere and you're basically wishing that you could cheat death, well, if you're on PC, you can cheat death. You can save your progress right at the beginning, you know, right outside of a boss fog door or wherever else you want to. And then plus, if you name all of the folders, then you have a record of what you were doing, you know, at all those points. So anyway, that's what I still do, just not quite as much as I used to, because I'm good enough at the game that I don't need to save that many times. But yeah, so anyway, I guess that's enough self-promotion, and and just be sure to read the description down there. I give links to some of the stuff, you know, like my EPiC mod and some other things, and, you know, kind of explain, you know, some about the mod and all. So okay, well, good night to all, and to all a good night, and whatever. All right, goodbye.